Welcome to Gauranga Wellness, and today we thought we'd like to try some mindfulness doodling with you. Mindfulness doodling is very different to doodling that you might do if you're sitting on the phone or at a course. Mindfulness doodling is actually focusing on what you're creating, setting time aside to doodle specifically, and thinking about every mark that you make. Every mark is thought about, but no mark is wrong. So you don't have any rubbers, any erasers, you just make your marks and see what happens as you go. But think about what you're making as you do it, and that's what makes it mindful. So to start with, you need some pens, black pens. I've got 2 thick pens and a thin pen. You could even go thicker with a Sharpie, and then a pencil to draw your grid and start off. So let's start with the pencil. So today we're going to do them in a 6 square grid. So you can do this however you like, but I'm going to show you a few different styles of mindfulness doodling in a 6 square grid. So let's just bring that along here. So I'll draw myself a rectangle, split it in half, and then into thirds. Now you can see my squares aren't even, but that's fine. So I'm going to start with, I'm just going to do a nice simple design with circles. So I'm going to do some large circles. I think I'll start doing some on the edges. I'll come around there. All different sizes. Now I'm using my thick pen, so I'm going to use my thin pen to fill in some smaller ones now. It's quite nice seeing the different thicknesses of the pen. It's quite pleasing. You could colour in some of the circles if you wanted to. I'm going to leave these ones just blank for this first doodle. I'm just looking, seeing where the spaces are, filling in all the little gaps, taking a look back. Some small ones could go in there, checking I've got all the sizes that I want. And there is our first square doodle. So in our next doodle, we are going to draw some lines. So I'm going to draw some wiggly lines across the page. And doing this with my thin pen, and then I'm going to cut across them. So you're sort of creating sections. So I think we need to have one across here, coming up to there. Let's have another one in this corner. Maybe one that cuts across. Oh, let's go up to there. Okay, now all I'm going to do with this, I'm going to do some shaded black squares. I'm going to leave some blank and some lined. So I'm using my thicker pen to colour these in. Let's go for one over, let's go for this one in the corner. This is why it's quite nice to do just one colour, because it takes a little of the consideration out. You can do mindfulness doodling in different colours, but with just black, you're just focusing on the actual doodle itself. So I'm going to do some lined with my thin pen. Let's do a lined one here. Let's have one there. And we'll have one here. I'm going to do a black one here, I think. And let's have a look. That nice black one will go well here. Now I've kept mine all separate, but you don't have to. You could have some different lines together, so you could have squiggly lines in them. I've chosen to keep mine separate. And I think let's have a stripy one there. There we go, so that's our second pattern created. Now on to our third pattern, and I think we need to use, let's use our thin pen for this one. So I like this one. This is one I've always drawn since I was young, these patterns. So this is quite a geometric pattern, this one. So I'm going to start just a short way down the line of the box, about here. I'm going to draw a straight line. It's going to finish in this corner, but just before the corner. So there's one. I'm going to then start on this line here. I'm going to start again, slightly in, and do the same. Draw to the next corner. But you're almost finishing just before the end. Same again, start just a little way in. Draw a straight line, just to the end of the box. Then start a short way in, and draw a straight line to the end. Okay, so I'm going to start again back in this corner, but this time instead of starting on the line of the box that I created initially in pencil, I'm going to start here. So short way in, draw my straight line, and it's going to finish just before the next line that I've made before. And then I'm going to start a short way in, finish there, short way in, finish there, short way in, finish there, and just keep going round and round your box. Now you might notice a bit of a pattern forming, and this is what I like about this one, because this one is quite therapeutic, because it's just the same repeating pattern, and it sort of creates almost like a curved line. And it gets a little bit tricky as you get nearer to the middle. Just if you're really thinking carefully about where you've drawn, you should be able to finish it. And I like looking back at that one. I love the curved lines that it produces. So that's our third type of pattern that we could do. So this time I'm going to use my thin pen. I'm just going to draw a series of curved lines in my box. Now obviously the curve doesn't quite go, but I'll finish it off there. So then I'm almost going to create like a little flower pattern here. So you could, if you wanted to, make your bands, these bands, even thinner. I quite like this width. Maybe next time I do it, I might do this, so we'll see how that looks. So I'm just sort of making like a petal pattern. Not quite touching the edges, but you could touch the ends if you want to. Now this one is, I think I might start on this end actually, because then I can see it's not going to be a complete circle there. So this one is quite tricky because it suddenly sort of curves around where you've got more of a rectangle shape than a square. So I'm looking, and I think what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to do this. Yeah, I quite like that. And then I'm going to start here again. to make sure I come round. I'm tempted to stay straight. And then we'll do a short one in there. Now, I don't want to leave it at that. What I'm going to do now, take my thicker pen. I'm going to colour the gaps that I've got here. So it just looks, gives you a little bit of sort of depth to it. Now I'm just into the very fuzzy end of the little pen, so I'm going to take that bit off. Okay. This one doesn't make it brush everywhere, keeps it slightly neater. Each side. That just changes it when you look at this end to this end. It's much nicer. Now you could do it the opposite way around and fill in these bits instead of the outside edges. It's entirely up to you. It's your doodle. There we go. And just this side. There we go. And then last little section here. Because you've got the straight edge, so I might just take that edge a little bit down. Because I've taken my petal pieces right up to the edge. There, looks a bit more finished. There we go. I really like that one. Okay, so next part, I think we'll choose our thin one again. Actually, I might go for the thick one for this one. So we're going to be drawing some straight lines. All we're going to do is straight lines from the centre to the outer edge. So the spaces between don't have to be equal, although mine seem to be turning out that way. So we're creating almost like a starburst effect. Quite like the concentration of the black in the middle. So as I'm doing this one, I'm kind of thinking to myself, I might actually put some thinner ones in between with my thin pencil and see how that looks. There we go. So I quite like it, almost draws your eye to the centre. So I'll try some thinner ones. I quite like how that looks. So really at the moment it's now just judging how many to put in each space. Extra line in there. Yeah, that was quite smart, quite effective. I like that one. So, last piece we are going to do, I think we need to use the thick one to create a pattern, and I'm going to sort of do a repeating pattern. So I'm going to create a couple of flowers. Let's do one down here. Actually, they look like pieces of fluffy popcorn as well. So it could be a popcorn one. I think I'll do one on the edge. Do one on the corner down here. That's a very fluffy one. And so, we'll leave it at that. I'm going to take my thin pen, and around each shape I'm just going to draw a line. Tricky one in the corner, and I'm just going to keep repeating that line around each shape. Now, when I get to here, this one is almost ready to join. I like it when they start to join up. In fact, this one will as well soon. But I want to fill the whole of this box with these. So now I don't want to try and draw a line in here, so I'm going to go round them both. Now, I'm not ready to join anywhere else yet, but I am here. So I'm just going to stop at this one and then come back round. Now I'm going to go around this one, but I'm not going to get another one in. So I'm going to go as far as I can. Come round to there. Now I'm going to have to come around this side. Fill in the gaps. So actually now I'm at the edge, I can just continue this one to the corners. There we go, now I can't go any further here or here. Oh, I've got to come back in on myself there. So now, this is just a gap to be filled in. And then I can do a small one, I think, here. And then just finish up one in this corner. This part here, and then just a nice section to finish off, and there we go. So 6 different mindful doodles. There are all sorts of different patterns that you can do. Why not try it and have a go yourself?